detractors, distraction. They say distraction is the opposite of traction. When we feel like we're gaining traction, we're gaining momentum. Like a train on the train tracks, you're gaining traction. But distraction is the opposite. When you feel derailed, when you feel like you're going off the tracks, when you're going off. That's what I felt, And the damage was dealt. But I had to forgive myself for the years that I lived in fear. Didn't really know who I was, didn't really know where I was going, didn't really understand the energy that was flowing at that time. And I remember one of my good friends, he's like a brother to me. I remember, seeing him drive in all sorts of circumstances. He would drive in whatever, in whatever state that he was in, whatever substance he had, he would still drive. He'd be like, I gotta make it home. That was his logic. I gotta make it home, So when I seen him do that, I was like, okay, I gotta make it home. And I did it enough times that I started to gain confidence doing something that was super dangerous. Something that like could have killed myself, could have killed someone else, could have been responsible for, my heart goes out when you see those crosses and those flowers and those, the things on the side of the road. Talking about people driving under the influence, like, why would you ever do that? And I look and I see those things on the side of the road and I'm like thinking to myself, how many nights could that have been me? Like by the grace, I don't know what series of events or what karma or what even the universe just like, I must be here for a reason. Because how many nights, at the drop of a hat, that could have been me? A bouquet of flowers on the side of the road, like people putting a monument for the people who lost their lives just due to negligence, due to ignorance, due to just unnecessary, So I just want to shed a little light, to maybe this would touch somebody. Maybe this would, maybe let somebody know, or maybe resonate with someone who has also been there, Perhaps you yourself were very confused during a time in your life, a period of your life where you had no sense of direction, and you felt like you had a connection or tried to have a connection with certain plant medicines. For me, it wasn't ever ceremonial. There was never a sit down and we'll do a prayer or, speak words, to the ancestors or to the spirit guides it was never like that. It was all recreation, It was recreation. It wasn't for anything other than that. Love Through Angels says, I've been thinking about stopping. I feel this might be a sign. Wow, this is very aligned. Andrea, love and light. Yeah, love and light to you, my friend. Much love. And Juliana, thank you for joining as well. Shout out to Esther White. Andrea says, yes, I felt I didn't need to smoke anymore. I see people always looking to need something to be okay. That was me, And like even with alcohol, wine, whiskey, wings, those were my things. I used to say the 3W, wine, whiskey, and wings. Those were my things. And, I did it for quite some time. But it was escaping the mind, escaping the reality of what was actually going on. Instead of using methods and modalities like meditation to raise my vibration, I would consistently lower it, to try and just cope with the things that, I couldn't cope with. So 3 instances, 3 scenarios on cannabis, specifically cannabis. Let's stick on topic here. The first one I remember, and I couldn't have been, more than like, I was definitely in my teens. And I remember I was at this girl's house. Someone, we were dating. And the thing is, you can't really, like, I could not have been in the field where I understood even what I was doing. So I don't know if it was just for the self-confidence or just to, but we were both sky high. And, things like being high, like your hormones, you're horny, you're raging, and everything is just stuff like putting on a condom, stuff like going through these motions, doing these things that are not even any way, shape, or form connected with like a soulmate or like an experience of actual love, like making love. That was not in the picture. So that experience, not only it's blurry, I can't even connect with what even happened. But afterwards, you have a feeling of like, what took place here? Did we do anything? Did we not do anything? And there would be spaces, little gaps in your memory. Like you're just moving here, moving there. You're doing things kind of mechanically, kind of like a robot. You're not even there. And when I left, once again, I felt like, I got to get home by any means necessary. So I turn the car, I rev up the engine, I start driving. Mind you, I'm gone. I'm in space right now. I'm in outer space. I'm in another galaxy. I go from, this girl's house, and she's like, are you sure you want to drive? Are you okay? You sure you can stay here if you want? You can spend the night. I'm like, nah, I gotta get home. So I start driving home, and I'm on the highway. To this day, I have no idea how people drive like this. I was coasting on the highway, and there was a period of time where I went from coasting to ghosting. When I say ghosting, like my body, it felt like I was on air. It felt like, you ever seen the Flintstones? You ever seen the Flintstones? The Flintstones, like Barney Rubble and, the Flintstones. They used to have these vehicles that had no bottom. There was no bottom. They just was their feet. Like, ding, 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 ding. They were actually moving it with their feet. That's what it felt like while I was driving on the street. It felt like my feet were just on the street. It felt like there was nothing, there was no bottom. Like I was a spirit drifting on the highway. I didn't feel connected at all to the vehicle. I'm moving at 60, 70 miles per hour or whatever. And I feel like I'm just moving through space. There's nothing, I'm not holding on to anything. I pull over. I'm like, my heart is palpitating. My heart is beating fast. I'm like, what is going on here? And a thought came in my mind. And if you've ever done things like, different substances, different psychedelics, different whatever, you know that all it takes is one idea, one little seed. Like, bloop, you plant that seed and it sprouts and it becomes a whole bunch of weeds with one little seed. And the seed was the idea that somehow I died on that highway. I was so high. I was so gone. I couldn't feel the car. I couldn't feel my feet underneath me. Couldn't feel the pedal, the gas pedal, the brake pedal. I thought I was dead. I thought maybe a car might have hit me already. Maybe I'm already in the spirit realm. Maybe I already passed. Maybe I already crossed over. Am I here right now? Am I actually alive? I'm tripping. I call my friend. I'm like, hey, is everything all right? He's like, yeah. You all right? I'm like, yeah, you all right? He's like, yeah. What's going on? I'm like, hey man, is it okay if I spend the night? I said, hey, is it okay if I spend the night? He's like, yeah, I mean, what's wrong? I'm like, nah, it's all good. Is it okay if I come over? He's like, yeah, man. So I make my way over there, right? I drive over to my friend's house and I spend the night at my friend's house for 3 days. I never told anyone. I thought I had died. I thought I was dead. No one could convince me that I was alive. I thought this life was a dream. Everything was a dream. I couldn't take anything. Like, I thought, this is a dream. I'm already dead. I tripped out for 3 days after that experience, and it was so traumatic for me. But that didn't stop me. Because there was another time where I was with one of my partners. We were with each other for 10 years. Now, she could smoke the cannabis. I was what you call baby lungs. I had baby lungs. People would pick on people like me, like, man, you got baby lungs, man. You coughing already, right? I would take one puff and be gone, right? SpaceX. We smoke, and we have our usual dinner, which is consisting of, of course, back then I was eating all sorts of animal flesh. Hot wings with the Parmesan garlic and all these seasonings and sauces and hot sauce and everything. And there was hot sauce covered in this, these wild wings. I'm eating these wings, right? I'm already high. She's high. She's watching the TV. I'm eating the wings. I'm listening. And the passage of time is going so strangely because every 5 minutes or so, it's almost like I'm waking up. You know when they talk about spirits, like alcohol with spirits, like something inhabiting your body. It kind of makes sense. Because there would be glimpses of periods where I would wake up and I would be performing an action and I would have the realization, oh, I'm back. My eyes would lit up like a child. I would light up. I'll be like, I'm back. Okay. And I would only have a split-second window to figure out what I wanted to do next. Do I want to go to the oven? Do I want to check on the oven? Do I want to go back over here to check on the TV? Do I want to check on, my girlfriend? What do I want? And then I would be gone again. And then I would come back. My eyes would light up. I'm back. So there were periods of time, little gaps of time in my memory where my body was on full autopilot. I was not in control of my vessel. I am convinced something else was taking over my body. I did not have control. I was like moving like an automaton in the house. And then I would just wake up every 5 minutes. I'd be back. And then I'd go out. And then I'd be back. And then waha! Right? The game would reboot. And in this video game of reality, I'm eating these wings. All this hot sauce, buffalo sauce is covering these wings, and I'm eating them. And I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm not even performing these actions with intention, with clarity, with thought. Just mindlessly eating. And I see all this sauce covering my fingers. And for the life of me, I thought I was eating my fingers. Like, do you understand what I mean by that? Like, I thought that when I was crunching into the bones of this bird, these drumsticks, these legs from this bird, I'm eating this, and I thought that I was crunching into the bones of my hand. And I thought all the hot sauce on my hand was blood that was spurting from my hand, that was squirting from my hand, that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop eating. And so I was so gone that I was convinced that I'm eating into my bones, into my own flesh. I was done. I was like, whoa. And my girlfriend at the time, she looks over at me, she's like, you good? I'm like, right? Like, it's all good, baby. Like, we good. She's like, okay. Right? Now, third scenario, last one. It's 2012. I'm headed to college. About to be my first year in college. And I'm driving on the road. I just got maybe 3 grams from some dealer. This is not like I'm in California where it's legal. I'm on the road. And I just have this little bag, this little sack in the back of the seat. And I have a little grinder in the middle of the console. And I'm driving, I got the tunes blaring. I got everything in my car. I'm moving over here to, to San Marcos. I'm about to go to college, right? We about to have fun. I got an ironing board in the car. I got a TV in the car. I got macaroni and cheese and hot dogs in the car. I got everything. All my bags are packed. But I got these little 3 grams in the back. And I didn't know that I was following behind this 18-wheeler, this truck, a little bit too closely. All of a sudden, I hear the sound. You know the sound. Whoop, whoop! Woo! Woo! Right? You hear that sound? You know that sound. And I see the lights flash. He pulls me over. I'm like, oh, snap. My heart starts beating again. Right? All them palpitations is coming back. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Why now? Why here? Why this? Why? Questions. I didn't have time to react. He doesn't come to the driver's side window. He comes to the passenger side. He said, down your window. Down my window. He's like, sir, you were following a little close to that truck. Is everything all right? I'm like, yeah, everything's good. Yeah, we good. We Gucci. You sure? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, nothing. Was I a little too close? He was like, yeah, you were a little too close. I was like, oh, okay, my bad, officer. I'm sorry. He's like, is there anything in this car that I should know about? I'm like, what made you ask that? No. And then he gave me a chance. You ever been in a situation where somebody already knows the answer to the question? They just want to see if you're going to tell them the truth. Like, they just want to see what you'll say. This was that scenario. I didn't know that the smell was so potent in the car, because I had been in the car for a while. The smell was so potent, it was so loud. As soon as I downed the passenger side window, he could smell it in the car. So he asked me, he gave me a chance. He said, you sure there's nothing in here that I should know about? You want to tell me? I'm like, no. All right. He said, wait right here. I said, okay. He goes, he radios in. Copy that. 10-4. He calls back up. And I ended up staying there for, I think, about half an hour. He pulled me out of the car. He said, step out of the car, please. Step out of the car, please. He had me standing on the side of the street. 2 other canine units came up. They must have had nothing else to do. This was New Braunfels, right? Comal County. They must have had nothing else to do that night. They pull up. They finally get a canine unit because they were raiding the car. They pulled out the ironing board, pulled out everything, trying to find this little baggie, right? And what kept them going was they found the grinder, so they knew that there was something else. Finally, the dog was sniffing in the back, and everybody was like looking through it. And finally, the cop told me, he said, hey man, if it's less than 2 grams, we'll write you a ticket. We'll give you a slap on the wrist. Just tell us where it is. Like, where is it? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I still played dumb. I still played stupid. Like, I was like, I don't know what you mean, officer. What are you talking about? Right? I have no clue. He's like, right? And right when he said that, one of the cops in the backseat said, found it. As soon as he found it, clink, clink, they slapped the cuffs on me. They threw me in the backseat. Station wagon, they drove me to jail right that night. I got arrested, put in jail that night. They pat me down. When I got in there, they thought I was high. I wasn't even high. They were like, hey man, you high? See, people always thought I was high anyway. Because my eyes were always low in school. People tried to sell me stuff. They were like, yo, you want to, So they were messing with me. The cops was messing with me when I got in there. They printed my finger. They did everything, They put me in the system. And they said, "You high right now?" And I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Hey man, it's all good. You know, it's okay to smoke it. It's just not okay to have it." They messing with me, right? I'm like, okay, they messing with me here. They book me, they throw me in here with the other people that are staying overnight. And my girlfriend, she had to get me out the next morning. She had to bail me out. But that was embarrassing. I was like, looking around me like, how did I get here? Why? Why am I here right now? This is not it, you know? So those 3 scenarios that I just laid out for you, just pondering that, realizing like, is it worth it? And it's funny because that didn't even stop me. What really stopped me was just time and time again, the paranoia. I realized it wasn't for me, you know? I'm more of the person that likes to feel energy, that likes to feel vitality, that likes to feel like I want to go and move and do and groove and improve. And every time I would work with cannabis, I say work with it, right? It wasn't even me working with it. It was working me. It would just bring me to a level of paranoia that was very uncomfortable. So, yeah, these were the lessons. And only when I started to reflect, I started to connect, you know. But I'm so thankful because at any of those times, things could have turned out different for me. Life could have been different. So, blessings to you. Much love. Thank you for listening.